Welcome, everybody, to the Seattle Sports Union Podcast. My name is Abraham DeWeese. I'm back again with the Savage Nathan Savage. And on the board today is the Soulman, Brian Solack. And guys, we are talking about the greatest Seahawks football game we've ever seen in regular season. Is that fair, Nathan?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's some other great ones, but as always, it's the best one I've seen, I think, in a little while at least. So we'll just call it the best one because that's how it goes. Yeah.
Right on. I look at this particular game, and the Soul Man talked to me offline about a Giants game that was intense, and we had the Fail Mary, which was insane.
Yeah.
So like, there's no lack of great moments in the regular season, but if we're just going with recency bias here, this in recent memory, this was one of the craziest. I had to actually tell my friend who I have season tickets with that I probably need to attend church tomorrow and ask for forgiveness in giving up at least 10 or 12 times Thursday night, including when they scored a touchdown in overtime. When the Rams scored that touchdown, I told my friend, well, this is it. And I started walking out. And then I hear like people like cheering because the game wasn't over. I totally forgot, Nathan, that the rules are, both teams get the ball in overtime.
Yeah. And how good are those rules, right? That is one reason you could say it's the best game ever, because it's with these new rules. Now you can have some of this excitement in overtime. So just unreal. I'm sure you saw a decent amount of fans leaving 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter as well, when a lot of people thought the game might be over, and then Shaheed flipped it on its head. And I'm sure it was a great game to be at. A great Seattle weather game as well. For me, at least watching on TV, I don't know if you saw it as well at the game, but what Stafford was doing on offense I think he's going to win the MVP, and we beat that in one of his best games of the year. And just on all levels, it felt like it was, we punch against punch, two heavyweights, the best against the best. I don't know. I don't know if it gets much better than that, like you said, in the regular season.
Yeah, it's you talk about Stafford, MVP caliber season. He's putting up numbers and putting them up against great defenses. However, this is the third or fourth Rams game where they can't close, right? They lost to us by 2 points, 1 point, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And they've lost some other games that were very close. So MVP yardage wise, sure, but it's not like these Rams are indestructible, undefeatable.
No, yeah. And I think we saw it even I'm coming out of this game a little more scared than the first game, actually, because we held them to 130 yards. I think, there's some injuries on the back end that really open things up for Stafford. And I think those guys, when they come back, will keep it a little more like a Seahawks game than what the Rams want to do, a high scoring game. So sometimes that happens. And I think we took their biggest punch, and a lot of things were going wrong for us. A lot of injuries, a lot of turnovers, 3 turnovers to 0, no sacks, and we still beat them. I think, I think he'll win MVP, but MVP is a regular season award. And I like our chances in the playoffs. I like what we bring to the table as a whole team versus what they're forced to do. Paying him the amount that they're paying him, and even though they are getting MVP level talent out of it, I don't know. I just think we basically came back from almost everything that could go wrong to open up that game and still won it. So that makes me excited.
So we'll talk about the wacky 2-point conversion in a second here. I just want to bring up to the point, where the Rams are not undefeatable. That special teams is no good.
Yeah.
The kicker's no good. Their very first drive, they went for it on 4th and 1 when they didn't need to, because I think they don't trust their kicker.
I think they don't trust their kicker, and I think we really scared them. I think the first game we played them, I mean, we dominated on all phases. Just those 4 Darnold turnovers was the difference. But as much as this game, they had the yardage, they had the time of possession, we had that tenfold almost in the first game, and I think they came in scared. I think McVay really wanted to switch things up. I think they were showing it at one point in the first quarter on the broadcast that he went for it on 4 fourth downs, and that was the most he's ever done in a game.
That didn't, if I weren't biased, I would still have the idea that that's too many to go for. You have to flip the field, because like in the prior game, the Seahawks had a hard time even getting any sort of field advantage, but they kept giving us the ball at the 35-yard line. It was the weirdest dang thing. I mean, like, why would you do that?
Yeah. I think though that's another, we can talk even outside the punt return. That's just so valuable to have a guy like Shaheed. I think they're really scared of Shaheed.
Yeah,
that's what I see there.
But I guess so. I mean, because right after Shaheed scored that touchdown, every punt after that went out of bounds, essentially.
Yeah, and I think every kick though as well, even before he took it back, they're kicking it out of the back of the end zone. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure.
Every kickoff was out through the end zone. But I mean, you're giving it at the 35. That's just not trusting your defense or trusting your special teams.
Yeah, and just the value for me too of Shaheed, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So by the way, whereas our defense wasn't able to stop much, the Rams defense looked damn good. They look really, really good, and they're it's almost like when they had Aaron Donald retire. It's almost like Jared Verse just decided he's going to be the next superstar defensive player for that team, and he was everywhere. And I fear almost more their defense than I do their offense.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, because there was that kind of that's how I felt coming out of the game. But as I watched replays of the game, looked at it a little more, we ran for 170 yards on them. We had our backup left tackle. I think Verse got maybe one hurry off Jones, or even just one sack maybe off Jones. I'm not sure. I mean, I thought and also coming out of the game now, the Seahawks offense is averaging the most points per game of any Seahawks offense ever. Wow. There's another stat I saw of that's the most points the Rams have ever given up against the Seahawks in a game ever. So I know exactly what you're saying, but I mean, we had 3 turnovers. We had Kupp heading towards the end zone. We had Darnold pushing us down the field, I think a couple times on both interceptions. So we could have had more even. I did think what they were doing was insane of countering Darnold, where they're scheming things for Darnold to look at and then randomly pulling their nose tackle out to have that interception and things like that. But
that was a brilliant defensive play. Yeah.
But and really, I know we got a punt return, but at the end of the game, you look at it and we kind of took it to them a little bit. So
I don't know. See, okay, yeah. There's a perspective where you could say, yeah, but, and that but would be the rushing yards was that 51-yard touchdown. The passing yards was that long pass to Barner in the end zone.
Yeah.
Like it seemed like chunk plays, rather explosive plays, I guess you could call it. But maybe that's what a good offense does. I don't, it's.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know why, because I know exactly what you're talking about. When I was watching the game, it just felt so desperate. Like they just seemed like they had our number. Their defense was dominating. But I mean, even if you take that 50-yarder away, right, we still have 120 rushing yards. So I don't know. And I don't know exactly why. Maybe it's because we had these explosive plays. And when we watch the Seahawks, normally we're used to more of these sustained drives, 10, 15 yards. And maybe it's just because of the way I did notice for sure when I was watching the game, just it is what it is. But looking at what Stafford was doing versus what Darnold was doing, I was almost in awe of the difference. And maybe that contributes to some of that. But I mean, I really think once we got the momentum going in the fourth quarter, I just don't think they could stop us. It was
what
pretty
did you
crazy.
see? What did you see on TV? The difference between the defense in the first, 3 quarters and a half versus those 3 consecutive 3-and-outs. Because as I'm there in the stands, I'm watching it, and it's like the Rams couldn't do anything right.
Yeah.
And was that predicated on our defense, or is it choking in the big moment? I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. Maybe McVay goes back and like in overtime, he just passes the ball a lot more. For me, though, it was we actually really shut down their running game. It felt like to start the game, they were getting 6-7 yard running plays pretty consistently, even drives where, 2 of the plays would be running plays and they get the first down off those 2 running plays. And if something happened, I think the defensive players actually talked about it after the game. They schemed something where it was a lot more man on man. On the defensive line. They moved the defensive line into gaps where they thought they would beat guys one-on-one versus running into kind of more a zone setup. And that's the difference for me. I think we didn't really talk about Murphy. We didn't talk that much about Williams. And then all of a sudden in the second half, which again, I think is the genius of our coaching staff and why I trusted them coming out of that first half, is we just seemed to win a lot of second halves from coaching. And supposedly they schemed something on the defensive line that really shut down that running game. And I think, the Rams had the lead, so they're going to keep running the ball, and then we force those 3-and-outs. I do think probably if they'd realized a little bit earlier how banged up we were in the secondary and started opening things up for Stafford, we might have been more in trouble. But
Right.
I mean, they're one of the best running offenses ever, one of the best schemed offenses in terms of running ever. So that's all crediting the defense for me. I think they did really well.
Seems to me the running back situation was a little odd too. They went to a running back, I don't remember his name, but they got away from Williams carrying the load.
Yeah, they're kind of similar to the Seahawks where it's Corum. He's that old Michigan running back when they'd hand it off 30 times a game with McCarthy and some of that conversation. And why did Minnesota draft McCarthy when he's great at handing the ball off over everything? But yeah, I actually like them doing that because Williams has been getting kind of banged up by the playoffs. I think the Seahawks are doing a similar thing. I think we did open up Walker a little bit this game because this was basically a playoff game. And I think we'll see that more as we head towards the playoffs. And I do think at some point the Rams as well are just going to play Williams. I think even though both are pretty solid and maybe Corum next year and a couple years will take over. Yeah, I agree. Williams just was a little more shifty, broke a few more tackles, and I felt a lot more nervous when he had the ball.
Me too. Let's talk about the big talk, and that's going to be the 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
It seems to me you're either excited that the NFL actually got it right, or you're in a righteous indignation mode because they blew a whistle and therefore it must be dead. As dispassionately as you can look at it being a Seahawks fan, which is probably very little. What did you see there?
Yeah, I don't even think we saw Puka tweet after the game, but I don't think.
Oh, so that guy's becoming like one of my least favorite people.
Yeah, he's getting in the
he
problem.
Tweeted out in the middle of the game.
Yeah, he's getting some of the Antonio Brown issues potentially, which I do think on that play close to the goal line, I think he might have had a concussion there. He looked like he almost got knocked out on the field.
Nakua?
Yeah. And he's part of this is coming off a lot of concussions this year. So hopefully that's not what it is. But yeah, when it's out of the blue, a quiet player all of a sudden starts saying, we don't need to talk about it here, but some pretty crazy things, even towards certain groups of people and things like that. It gets a little bit wild. But I think from what I could see after things have died down a little bit, I've even noticed it looks like the Rams fans themselves are not talking about that play as much because it's been a rule for a while. I saw a lot of videos of plays that people were bringing up where this is how the NFL's called it now for a while, where when it's so obvious that Charbonnet gets the ball there, that doesn't really matter that the whistle's dead or not. There wasn't anyone near him even if they didn't blow the whistle, that I think could have gotten the ball. He would have dove on it and it would have been okay. But I mean, that's as lucky as it gets. That's the way I think about it. At the end of it is, man, we got so lucky there.
Yeah,
because no one was thinking about that. And yeah, that's a good heads up play by him.
Yeah, there was a lot of luck to that. The interesting thing is, had that ball not been knocked forward by Verse, and rather knocked backwards, yeah, you're looking at maybe a 2 points the other way.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just a matter of, did it hit him in? If it hit him in the face mask, it would have gone forward. Hit him in the back of the head like it did. It went forwards, and it was the right call. But I got to say, up in the stands, I didn't see it. Like I was looking right at it. I was right on top of it. I thought the play was dead myself, and there could have been a whistle. And that's, I think, where a lot of people are getting upset is whistle means dead. Only in the actual rule book, it doesn't.
Yeah. No, and that's where I mean, it's been called that way for a while now on these recoveries, and it kind of is what it is there. If he'd recovered it at the 1 yard line and the whistle had been blown, that would have completely screwed over the Seahawks, right? Because then you can't advance it. The whistle blew. But he recovered it in the end zone. There weren't a lot of people around him, even if the whistle didn't blow. It's not like there was a Rams defender right there, heard the whistle and backed off the ball. He just was the one guy that was going to go for the ball there, I think. And again, it's in the rule book. So that's where I think, for me, things have died out a little bit. People aren't making as big of a deal of that one.
The other big piece of that is advancement of a fumble. Well, you're a millennial. You might have never heard of the Holy Roller. Have you ever heard of the Holy Roller?
No.
Okay. It was a play in the 70s. I can't remember which Raiders quarterback it was. End of the game, he intentionally just dropped the ball into the end zone and hoped one of his own guys would jump on it, and they did.
Yeah.
That's Holy Roller. So they made a rule against that. You can't fumble forwards and advance the ball. But the key thing here, the best way I heard it described, is it hit the defender while it was a lateral. And actually in NFL, there is no lateral. It's either backwards or forwards, right?
Yeah.
Parallel is backwards.
Yeah.
Equals backwards.
Yeah, it looked pretty parallel to me, but that's backwards. So
it was definitely parallel, lateral, backwards pass. Knocked forward. So the key wasn't a Seattle player knocking the ball forward. It was knocked forward by a defender.
Yeah.
And it was recovered at the spot that the ball landed. And not advanced. So
I think even it was also unintentional by the defender. I remember seeing a Troy Polamalu play back in the day where he kind of reached his fist out because he couldn't quite get to the ball and knocked the ball forwards, and they called that back as well. But yeah, I mean, just that's the miracles you need to win one of these games at that point.
Well, think about the couple games every year that you see where at the end of the game they do 100 laterals or passbacks on a kickoff, to recreate the game. Oftentimes those balls hit the ground, but they're still advanceable because it was a pass back rather than a fumble forward. So it was the right call. I understand the trepidation over the blown whistle, but the old Belichick rule, right? Always pick up the ball regardless of.
Yeah.
Oh, and we got some feedback here from the Soulman. The Holy Roller, it was Ken Stabler, who fumbled it forwards to his tight end Dave Casper, getting them the win. And then in that following season, 1978, they created a rule to stop that.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And the Chargers fans refer to it not as the Holy Roller, but as the Immaculate Deception.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, I saw the highlight of that Franco Harris reception a few days ago, and that's still crazy. I think it was like 7-6, and he won the game on that one play.
Well, that there's controversy to that, right? Because if that had hit an offensive player at that at that time in the rules, if it hit an offensive player and went backwards, it should not have been advanceable.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Which it is now, but they didn't have instant replay, so they couldn't see it.
Yeah.
And honestly, instant replay worked out for us, but so many times it just makes people angrier.
Yeah. For me, it's just I think that's where I've seen Rams fans kind of, there's the vocal minority, of course, but in the end, it's made the right play, right? And that's what you hope for, is they called it correctly in the end. And I think the Rams also felt like, probably, I'd assume, the players and coaches, they had a lot of opportunities to win the game there. So,
well, that's a big thing that happened in the middle third quarter ish, right?
yeah.
You shouldn't go 3 and outs.
Yeah.
You shouldn't give up a Rashid touchdown. You shouldn't,
Yeah.
all these things were under control. And then it's really hard to, as a Seahawks fan, it's really hard to listen to someone else bitch and moan when in the 2006 Super Bowl we had to sit there and watch every last call go against us.
Yeah.
And calls made up that didn't happen. Hold those tears back for real problems in your life. And then also, the Rams last week were gifted a touchdown. So
yeah, no, exactly. I saw that play too. That was ridiculous.
No Detroit fans crying for him.
Yeah, I don't even know how that made it through. That's insane. All the angles I saw from that, it looked like he was, half a yard away from the end zone. It wasn't even that close. So.
Well, how are you feeling coming out of this game?
Obviously, when it
hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. What were you feeling going into the game?
Yeah.
And where are you now? That's really what I meant to ask.
So where I am now is a little different than right after the game. I mean, right after the game, you think, okay, anything's possible. You're doing the Kevin Garnett kind of celebration. Oh, we're going all the way. This is the year. We're the team of destiny. One part, number one, I do remember thinking, though, man, we got to close the door, right? We have to beat the Panthers, have to beat the Niners. That's legit, right? Like, those are two very solid teams. Panthers just beat the Rams. Niners are no joke. We've lost, at the 1 inch line against the Niners in the past to not win the division. So I felt the kind of nerves of, man, can we just shut the door? But I think I feel good about that. The part I'm a little bit nervous about is what's going on with the injuries on the defense. It really scares me that Woolen went out.
What injuries do we have?
I think it's Woolen, Emenwari, and Bryant. Those were the three in the secondary. I'm sure we have a couple other injuries around, but those were the three that scared me because it felt like once those guys were out of the game, I mean, I really like Okada. He got just blown out on that play by Puka in overtime. And that was a little bit scary because, we're going to play really good teams in the playoffs. There's a lot of good wide receivers. There's a lot of good quarterbacks. Once we start giving up big plays as a defense, I think everything kind of crumbles. So we saw that against the Buccaneers, and now we see that against the Rams, where we've given up all these points. And I think that's what I'm a little bit nervous of, is can we get those guys back? I think we should beat the Panthers. I think the only way we lose is maybe similar to the Colts, where we're thinking ahead too much towards the Niners. But I just really want them to shut the door. I think this game blows the door wide open. The first seed's ours. We need to walk through that opportunity. That's how I'm feeling after this game.
Well, that's kind of what I think. Pre-season, we probably had Carolina on the automatic win. All of a sudden, they're not an automatic win. All of a sudden, they're. I think they have a chance at the playoffs.
They had a great chance. They just lost to the Saints last week. They had the driver's seat, but now things are going to be a little more difficult for them.
So wait, if they have the driver's seat, who's? By the way, we got a message from Soulman. Emenwari cleared concussion protocol.
Yeah.
Woolen is banged up, and Bryant might be done. I assume by that, Soulman, you mean that he's out for the season.
I heard maybe it was regular season and they could potentially get him back for playoffs.
Okay.
But I did see that with Emenwari. Hopefully everything's good with him. And they have 10 days off. So I guess then Willen is the one I'm circling right now.
Okay. So it looks like Panthers and Bucks are tied. So
Yeah.
Panthers have everything to play for
Yeah.
next, not tomorrow, but the next Sunday after that. And
Yeah.
then, of course, the 49ers. I believe the Rams, their schedule is a bunch of patsies. Yes, it is. It's the Falcons and the Cardinals.
Yeah.
So don't expect the Rams to lose any games.
Yeah, and if the Niners beat the Bears and win out the rest of the way, they also get the one seed as well. So they have a lot to play for.
Well, okay, so the Niners have to play the Bears. They play they play the Colts tomorrow.
Be making it worse.
We got technical issues. Anyway, yeah, you're right. The Niners play the Colts tomorrow, and then they play the Bears. So our hope is that one of those teams take them out, right? Yeah. We got to win our games, so it's not over. It is not over.
Yeah, well, I think that's what I'm seeing too. Is I think this team, as a 1 seed, I consider them a Super Bowl favorite, one of the Super Bowl favorites. As a 5 seed, I start getting a little bit nervous. Some of those places that we'd have to go into and play, I just much rather be home. It looks like the 12s. That's a question I have for you is how loud was I heard the fans are pretty loud for this game, but yeah, I just want to play home games.
Right on. Well, we're pretty much at the end of the show here. As we always do, we do shout outs, right? So I'm going to start with Brian, the Soulman Solack, our producer. His shout out is to the Seattle University Red Hawks, who beat the University of Washington Huskies last night at Climate Pledge. That is fantastic. Seattle U, just as of Nathan, how long ago did you and I used to go to the games? They were just
that was about 5 years ago, I think. Something like that.
Had just come up to Division One.
Yeah.
Now they're in West Coast Conference, I believe.
I think so. Yeah.
Yep, same conference as Gonzaga for now. And yeah, taking out the Huskies, that is bad for the Huskies, but great for Seattle U. Definitely congratulations to them. I'm going to give a shout out, and that's going to be to Matt Page. He was producer of our previous show with Jim Moore, and he's getting married, so big shout out to him.
Oh, wow. Yeah, congrats.
Nathan, you got a shout out?
Yeah, I actually want to shout out, it's coming up very soon, but shout out some of these U.S. pitchers like Paul Skeen, some of those guys who are the World Baseball Classic's coming up in March, and it seems like the U.S. is finally going all in, and I'm pretty excited for what that means. I know the game in Japan sold out in 10 seconds, basically, but yeah, I think that's coming up in March, and yeah, it's just I know pitcher is one of the most injury-prone positions in maybe all of sports, but it'll be really nice to see what best against best can do at this World Baseball Classic. So shout out the Mariners or the pitchers for showing up for this one.
I love the World Baseball Classic, and I really do wish they would move it. It would be great if it became more of a World Cup-ish type thing. Most people don't seem to even know about it, and I think it should be at the forefront of baseball. Like, I don't know when you could play it. Mid-season? I don't know. End of the season?
But yeah, it's just so tough with the pitchers. That's the only problem. Because if there wasn't this pitcher problem, you just say, oh, just make it the All-Star break, right? Like they did with hockey. But that pitchers, it's a problem. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know when they'd move it. I actually think this is about the best time you can really do it is right before spring training. So
right on. Well, I want to thank everybody out there for listening to us here on Seattle Sports Union on YouTube and Spotify and wherever else you can find us. Also, I want to give a shout out. I want to give a thank you and a shout out to the Savage Nathan Savage, and a shout out and a thank you to our producer, Soulman Brian Solack, on behalf of the Seattle Sports Union and myself, Abraham DeWeese. We'll see you guys next time. You're supposed to say go Hawks, Nathan.
Go Hawks, yeah.
There we go. See you guys.